Hey everyone, welcome to the Neurodivergent Perspectives podcast, the podcast where we get real about the neurodivergent experience at work. I'm your host, Dr. Allison Lean, neurodiversity researcher, educator, and deeply passionate about neuroinclusion, who spent years studying one big question: what is it really like to be neurodivergent at work? The answers? Hear from my guests. Let's go. All right, we have Rodney Campbell on the Neurodivergent Perspectives podcast. Hey, Rodney.
How are you?
Do you want to say something about yourself?
Something about myself? No, I'm just fine. Yeah, hi, Rodney. Yeah, I am a dad, a husband, a entrepreneur, an intrapreneur. I work at an organization where I consult businesses. I am a gamer, a nerd. Love Dungeons and Dragons, love video games, and I have ADHD. I was diagnosed later in life, probably around like 38, 39. So like, oh man, we're coming up on 6 years ago, 5, 6 years
Wow.
ago. Yeah.
So you were diagnosed late, but did you recognize that your brain worked differently before that?
Yes and no. I wasn't consciously aware of it, but I was always searching. So
Right.
and I think other people throughout my life recognized it in me or something, and they were trying to guide me to things. So like my parents were actually pretty good at, like, they had to work a lot, but they were really good at getting me mentors. And so I remember in high school, one of them gave me I think it's like the Covey time management system or something. And I don't know, it was like a day planner and a calendar and all this stuff. And I was like so excited, and it was great for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But like that's been my life, is like trying this, like whether it's
Yeah.
like a new system, a new book, a new app, a new diet plan, like trying all these things and finding and really I think that was one of my biggest tips when I finally figured it out, because like the novelty of the new thing was great until it wore off. It was like nah, it's not gonna work. So I wasn't. That was one of my biggest ahas when I did get diagnosed. I was like, oh my God, I've been searching. I've been self-medicating with caffeine, and I've been I like mushroom coffee because it makes my brain feel better. And it's like,
Yeah.
that's why I actually perform better when I don't drink. I don't have this haze that
Right.
makes it really hard for me to focus. So in a way I knew, but I didn't know. That's a
Yeah.
really long way to say that.
Yeah. No. I mean, you knew that you had maybe organizational or time management issues growing up, and you were trying all these apps or planners or the latest trends, or I don't know. But then you're like, it's not working at all.
And actually, you sparked something. School kind of masked it and hid it for a couple of reasons. One, because it was like so organized, like, right? Like, I knew where I had to be and what I had
Right.
to do. I didn't really have a choice. It was just like, you
Right.
go here and do these things. And then I was in sports. So like before school sports,
Yeah.
after school sports, go
Right.
home, homework, eat, bed. I didn't have time
It
to
was like
think about
spoon
it.
fed to you, like
Yeah.
your structure of your life. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got to college and it started to unravel a bit. But that definitely hit it. And then we can get into twice exceptionalism later, but I think that's a piece of hiding it as well.
Yeah. So you said you have ADHD, but school was a really great way of masking your ADHD because they're the ones that dictated the schedule, where you had to be at what time. And then you had sports, which also kept you busy. So it didn't free up time for the noise to creep in and kind of, disorganize yourself. But did you have a hard time focusing in school because of your ADHD?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I was the class clown, but I was a class clown. I was one of them.
Huh.
And so there's various stories of me like either getting in trouble or just like being can I cuss? Am I allowed to cuss?
Sure. Yes. You can
Of
cuss.
me being
Be your authentic self, Rodney. This is
hey, I just want to respect the
take the
platform,
mask off.
I want to respect the platform because I can do it
Yeah.
either way.
Yeah.
But I was a smartass, and like there was this time my teacher, this can't happen today just because of the dynamics of the world. But like my teacher was like, "Hey, I'll be right back. I have to run to the principal's office. Everybody stay in your seats." So smartass Rodney is like, "I got this." So they came back, and I was at the front of the class.
Yeah.
But you know those desks that have like it's the chair and it's connected to to the desk, the big old, like I had carried the whole thing to
I
the
think
front of their,
so, yeah.
I
Like
had
the
carried the,
standard school desk where it's a desk and a chair and they're
yeah, it's
connected, and then
all this
there's a
big
little
unit.
basket
It was
underneath.
not easy to move. I picked it
Yeah,
up, put it in the front of the class and sat in it. And I was like, I'm in my seat. They actually gave me a
yeah,
star. And I think that was a great teacher
yeah.
because they realized the error in the instructions that they gave. It left room for a curious mind to do things.
Yeah,
But yeah, I did have some focus issues. I also I did fidget. I had a knee bounce and a couple of other things, but I stopped doing them because they like teachers would be like, stop that, or parents would be like, stop that. And so I
uh-huh.
stopped doing it, but I really play with my fingers, kind of like
Mhm.
stemming and little things, but I had stopped. When I was in school, I stopped doing them. And my biggest issues, I actually liked school. So focusing like math and literature, actually all of it was pretty interesting to me. So it helped
Yeah,
me. I was able to kind of hyper focus at times. My biggest issues were on like executive function. So like it really messed with me in test taking. Test taking was very hard for me. So like my teachers were always super confused. They're like, he's so smart.
yeah,
Why is he getting a D on this test?
right.
What is happening? And that showed up when like I went to a private high school, and the high school I wanted to get into, I couldn't because I didn't test well enough. And the high school I ended up going to, I
Yeah,
didn't test well enough. My parents actually went back to my teachers and they wrote letters of recommendation saying like, that's not representative of his ability.
right.
And then, essentially the school was like, okay, we'll admit him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's time management. That's a big one for me. But
Mhm.
again, that was managed for me in school. So that part didn't show up as much.
Did you have I mean, I know you didn't know about your ADHD in school, but did you have a 504 plan where you could have extended period or extended time for test taking or special accommodations for test taking?
Mm-mm.
No.
I don't even know if that was a thing then. I would definitely recommend looking into it because I know you can get them for interviews and stuff like that as well now.
Oh, wow, I had no
Not
idea.
504s, but like accommodations.
Oh, right, right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think that when organizations offer accommodations for interviewing, I think that's a really good signal that they have a pretty inclusive culture.
At least they're signaling that they
Right.
do.
But once you get inside is when the truth really comes out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's some biases around it. I have a pretty good friend that's in HR, and they said they didn't understand accommodations because they don't they're not neurodivergent, and they were like, I don't understand why I have to go out of my way to help somebody else. And I kind of broke it down in a different way. I was like, I don't know that most accommodations aren't asking you to go out of your way. It's just like, hey, can we change how this
Mhm.
system works to better accommodate actually everybody, but specifically people that have this need. And it shouldn't overly burden anybody else. It should actually just make things easier or give a second option
Mhm.
for getting work done. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was definitely, when I was working on my study, one of the recommendations for organizations was fostering a neuro-inclusive culture. It starts with leadership development to get leaders into the mindset to be curious enough to understand neurodiversity, but also what does that what comes with that, with a neurodivergent workforce.
Yeah.
And that includes accommodations, but organizations being one step ahead so that employees who are neurodivergent don't have the burden of self-advocating constantly, that the organization already has systems in place.
Yeah. I mean, and
Yeah.
I gave a speech at Google a couple years ago. So it was like, this was almost right after I got diagnosed. And it was like my journey in corporate America
Mhm.
before and after ADHD, like knowing, or before and after diagnosis, and like what I've noticed. And I think one of the big things I tried to land, especially for the leaders in the room and also the parents, is like, I didn't find out till I was 38, 39 years old.
Mhm.
I was like, there are people on your team that have that are neurodiverse and may not know it, so they
Mhm.
can't tell you. And there's people who do know it and they're afraid of the repercussions, so they won't tell you.
Mhm.
So
Right.
figuring out how people work, whether they're neurodiverse or not, is really going to behoove you as a leader, and it's going to help your team cohere better.
Mhm.
Because I actually had two leaders like early in my career that both have ADHD, and they were pretty certain that I did, but they never told me that they knew that.
Right.
They just adjusted my workflows and
Hmm.
what they used to kind of motivate and inspire me, because they sat down and they're like, hey, when we ask Rodney to do this, high energy. When we ask him
Right.
to do this, low energy. So like, let's do
Right.
less of the low and more of the high. And then
Yeah.
if we have to do
I love
low,
that.
let's explain it and make it connect for him. And so they helped me manage it without even, I didn't even know.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that because we're trying to work on this paradigm shift, tapping into the strengths of the neurodivergent workforce. And part
Hmm.
of that is leaning into their strengths. And I think that's a great example of your leaders recognized, or they saw themselves in you because they both had ADHD and you exhibited behaviors that reflected ADHD. And they're like, okay, they picked up on trends like, this is high energy Rodney, this is low energy Rodney. And they really leaned into the projects or the workflows that inspired you and motivated you and really tapped into your strengths versus the ones that didn't. And now imagine if all workplaces did stuff like this. But a lot of it just comes down to education and awareness and truly understanding.
And I think you nailed it with enabling and teaching leaders. And this is just, it's been a problem for, ages of really, like, what is leadership and how do we teach it? Because I
Mhm.
think the best leaders do this. Like, if you think about diversity, neurodiversity, and kind of all the kind of differences that we have, like the best leaders, they kind of account for it, whether they realize it or not. And I think about sports a lot. And it's like the best teams are ones in which not the coach isn't like the best player, but they're good at putting their players in the best positions because they understand the game enough and they
Right.
understand individuals enough to say like,
Mhm.
okay, you're here, here's your responsibilities, and these aren't your responsibilities. That's a big thing. That was a big thing for me. So the one of those managers realizing executive function being an issue for Rodney. Hey, Rodney, these three things, super important. These are your job. Everything else, either ignore or send to me. Everything else is noise, right? And so it made it really simple for me to focus and know what I needed to get done.
Yeah. So was it hard for you if people didn't pinpoint, okay, Rodney, I need you to focus on these three deliverables. Everything else is noise. But if you didn't have someone telling you about these three things, was it your executive functioning kind of putting equal weight on everything and then you not being able to know where should I allocate my energy?
I think the deciding factor was how stressed was I?
Hmm.
So I realized, like, as I get more stressed, my ability to weight things properly goes way out of whack. And
Yeah.
basically it turns into kind of like this paralysis where I don't know where to start.
Hmm.
And so I just sit on my hands, and which is like the one of the worst things you can do.
Yeah.
Uh, in normal operating mode, I'm getting my nutrition and I'm working out and I'm getting water, like and sleep. Sleep is so huge.
Yes. Yes.
Then I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
Still some challenge there, but I mean, I was able to do it for quite a while without anybody directly. And obviously, when
Hmm.
you have a job, like you have a role, and it's like I'm a sales rep. I'm supposed to sell widgets. And it's like, okay, well, that's my main
Yeah, you have
deliverable.
your annual goals, and we're like,
Yeah,
okay, this deliverable ladders up to one of my goals, so obviously I
yeah.
need to be doing this. Yes.
But the it can be enticing to get side projects, right? It's like, ooh,
Yeah.
that's something I'm really interested in. I'm going to work on
Yep.
that. And then it's like, ooh, that's creeping up and I'm doing it more than my job. It's like that's not good. You don't want to do that, but it can be that can be hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what are some things that what do you do to fill your cup? So, for example, you said that when you're overly stressed, not getting enough sleep, your nutrition is down, maybe you haven't worked out in a while, so you're not your best self. How are you filling your cup,
Mhm.
as a neurodivergent person so that you do show up to work and have your executive functioning?
Couple of things. I'll take yesterday. So yesterday was the culmination of like 2 weeks of terrible sleep. Like the kids were
Mhm.
up. Some of us got like stomach bugs. So I was like averaging way less sleep than I needed. And I actually track my sleep with my Aura ring and also my Apple Watch because I like to watch trends to see how I'm feeling versus like what else is going on. And so yesterday I woke up. First thing I told Rach, I told wifey, I was like, hey, like I'm not at top capacity. Communicating has been probably the
Yeah.
biggest thing. Like whether it's to a business partner or to my partners in the business. So like yesterday after I told her, I went on my team chat and I was like, guys, I'm dragging today. I might need your help on some things, or I might be a little slow on things. And I've done that also when like I'm not now, but I used to take like Vyvanse or different medications. And it
Mm-hmm.
was like,
Are
hey,
those ADHD medications?
Vyvanse is an ADHD medication. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like Adderall or version of Adderall.
Mm-hmm.
And they definitely, like, people noticed, and I noticed how I felt. And so I would be like, hey, today's a non-medicated day. Just so you know, I might be a little scattered. And just so you know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Meds are not popping off today.
yeah, it's just not. This is hard to explain, but giving myself permission to not go hard, like to
Mm-hmm.
just like making the goal. So yesterday I'm looking at my calendar from yesterday. I had a lot of meetings,
Yeah.
and most of them I could not attend. So it's like, all right, I'm just gonna show up. No expectation. Like, I'm just showing up. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
there. And it turns out, like, once I got there, like, I was able to kind of get into it for the most part. And then by the end of the day, I was tapped. So then I went back to wifey and I was like, hey, I'm hyper emotional right now, and I got to get into bed early. Like, I
Yeah.
just low energy. Like, I got to do as little as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, she had said something that like annoyed me, and I was just like, hey, can we do this conversation later? Like, I cannot regulate. Emotional regulation is a big challenge for me,
Mm-hmm.
especially when taxed or stressed. And like that time I was able to communicate it. Oftentimes it's not it's not as pretty or gracious. But that's what I'm working towards, is being able to communicate like what's going on.
Yeah.
And part of I think part of like the self-care in it, self-care or like maintenance, is I try and do check-ins,
Mm-hmm.
like emotional welfare, like how am I doing on anger and sadness and joy and
Mm-hmm.
grief, and like on a daily basis, so that we can be like, oh man, my grief is really high today. Like, that's going to affect how I show up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And or noticing that it's high can sometimes, like, okay, I realize that's high. I can put it right here and I can pick it
Mm-hmm.
back up after work. Or in
Right.
between calls, I can go for a walk.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I'm looking at the rest of the day today. I'm like, oh, that call, like, I have to be on it, but I can go for a walk while I'm on that call.
Right.
Movement early in the day, huge.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still dialing in nutrition. That's a hard one for me. But when it's good, like, it really helps.
Yeah.
Sleep, outside of this last 2 weeks, I've really dialed in my sleep. That's
Mm-hmm.
been monumental. And part of that has been I've almost cut out alcohol completely. Like, I'll drink from time to time, but it's like it's the exception to the rule, versus
Yeah.
used to be the exception was like, I'll do dry January or whatever. Now it's more like
Right.
everything's dry, and then like, oh, like we had a big whatever, whatever. Okay, cool. I'll have a glass of wine.
Right. Yeah.
But I now, like, the tax on my brain from
Mm-hmm.
drinking is just it's not worth it for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are some of the things I do. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. But those are some of the things
So you talked earlier about pre-diagnosis, post-diagnosis, your work journey, pre-diagnosis, and your work journey after diagnosis. So it seems right now you have a lot of self-awareness. You know, what is good for you, what isn't good for you. You feel that you could be very honest with your team about, hey, like I'm not really operating the best today, and being very transparent with them. How were you navigating the workplace as pre-diagnosis? Like, you didn't know you had ADHD, but maybe you knew that there was something there that you just didn't know. How were you navigating the workplace in the unknown, I guess?
stretching myself really thin
Mhm.
all the time. I would say now I'm not quite reformed. I'm being reformed as a people pleaser. And so the pre side, like, I spent a lot of time trying to make everybody in the room happy, put on whatever mask I needed for whatever room,
Mhm.
which to a degree happens in various, like, it's just like, that's life. Like, we context switch and change for different
Right.
groups, and
Right.
the way I talk with my homies is not the way I'm going to talk with other VPs. That's just what it is.
You're
That's
not
just
talking like a homie to the CEO of a tech company, like
right. Like, I'm just not doing it. However, as I've gotten to this stage, I am more free. To your point about just be who you are. Like, one of my buddies, he's been an exec at large record companies, and he's like, bro, be you all the time. No
Mhm.
excuses.
Yeah.
And my experience taught me that that's not safe. So I have a hard time doing that all the time. However,
Right.
I have started to do it more now. And if it makes people uncomfortable, we talk about it. And if it doesn't, like we just move on. It's like, oh, it's okay. But like overworking. Like
Mm-hmm.
I knew I had some deficiencies and things, and I was just like, all right, I gotta be hyper on email. Checking email is not a thing for me. So it's like, all right, on my calendar, I have 4 email checks a day. And it's like, and I would find people on my team that I could connect with close enough to be holding each other accountable for things that
Mm-hmm.
we were individually struggling with or needing help with. That was a thing. But a lot of it was just like, run harder. So they don't see the deficiencies.
Yeah. Because you had built in like calendar reminders to check your email. Yeah. Do you feel like you still need to do that?
I still have them. I change them often because Routine and me are not real close
Mm-hmm.
friends. I do have them. Do I need them as much? No, I don't need them as much.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Yeah.
something about awareness. You mentioned awareness, and I think as I've become more aware of it, I've been able to kind of wrestle with that or address it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
become like time blindness is a huge thing for me. So that's
Yeah.
why I wear an Apple Watch. Really, it's a glorified timer for me.
Yeah.
And I use it to keep me from getting lost in a thing when I
Mm-hmm.
know I need to go to another thing soon.
Yeah.
So,
I love that term time blindness. I don't know that I've ever heard that before.
oh no,
Or
yeah.
time dysmorphia, I guess. The ADHD brain can have a difficult time with the concept of time.
Oh my
That sounded
goodness.
like that
Let
sounded like
me
very Dr. Seuss, but
No, it's great. It's perfectly accurate too. My journey, one of my mentors got diagnosed with ADHD, and he didn't tell me I had ADHD. He was like, "Hey, check out this Instagram channel," and it was just like memes about ADHD,
yeah.
and I was
He
like,
was kinda like hinting at it, like to see if it would resonate with you.
I was just like, "Hey, bro, like this one made me laugh. This one kind of made me sad, and I don't know why. And this one made me happy, and this one made me laugh, and like
Yeah.
all of these, I feel a little called out." And he's like,
Right.
"Oh yeah, maybe you should talk to a doctor, and like maybe talk to somebody." And it was kind of and I started watching YouTube videos of people talking about like what ADHD really is, because everybody thinks it's just a hyperactive kid, which is very rarely the presentation. And
Mhm.
there was somebody was talking about time blindness. I was like, oh snap. I was like, I will go to Home Depot. Be like, Rach,
Mhm.
I'm going to Home Depot. I need to get a lock for the door.
Right.
And then an hour later, she's like, where the hell are you? And I'm like, I'm talking to Bob about building a deck. And he's like, we don't need a deck. You're not building a
There
deck. I
goes
was like,
there's another side project that
it's just fascinating. I
Yeah.
like this guy. We've
Yeah.
connected, and I've lost all this time. And also in the workplace is even worse, because like I get up from a desk and go walk to go get coffee, and somebody would be there, and we start talking. And like the goal was to go get a cup of coffee, sit back down, get ready for my meeting that starts in 5 minutes. But then I
Yeah.
find a person, and we start talking, and 20 minutes later, I'm like, oh shit, I got a meeting, and I got to run back. And I'm like, sorry, I'm late for the meeting that I scheduled. I'm late. And that the number of times that's happened in my life, I hard to count.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, you were on time for our recording today, so
Was that was
things are
that was
looking up.
multiple calendar notifications and a timer and a timer.
Yeah. Well, I guess that makes sense because when I sent the calendar invite to you, I said, "What email do you want me to send it to?" And you said, "Send it to both, just for good measure."
Yeah, because I have
Yeah.
notifications from both those calendars, like ding ding. So it's just helpful, because
Yeah.
sometimes I can miss them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that time blind is super real. Like the passage of time.
Mhm.
So like my business partner and I, like we'll be presenting, and he'll know we have 5 minutes for this section. And like maybe I'll find a tangent and I'll just go. And he'll be like, hey, time.
Yeah, they're like, "Rodney, stick to the scripts."
There's no internal clock or timer. But
Yeah.
as I've become more aware of it, and as I use timers, like I am aware that it's an issue. So I know it's like, okay, I only have 10 minutes to present in this section in this meeting. So
Yeah.
I will set like a 7-minute timer so I can start to ramp down or check in and say,
Mhm.
hey, do we have a few more minutes to talk about this? I'm going to go over my time.
Yeah.
So it's helped me be more present and more aware of it.
Yeah. So pre-diagnosis, you were literally operating at a sprint
Mhm.
constantly. Every day was a sprint. But now post diagnosis, you're showing up to work and you're showing up in your life and you're jogging sometimes, you're doing a stride sometimes, or walking, or maybe sprinting other days because you're just more aware of where your energy levels are at, or also where your, like you said, deficiencies. So, for example, your time blindness and your hyper focus, or the affinity for side projects.
And I'm
But
more comfortable saying like I don't know or asking for help
yeah,
now.
yeah,
Whereas there it was just like I gotta figure it out. I'm just gonna do it all, which was not a healthy mindset, but it's what I had.
yeah. Do you think that there's unspoken workplace rules that are really hardest to navigate as a neurodivergent person?
Ooh, yes, I do. And I'm thinking, what are they? Some of them are unspoken. I think some are spoken.
Mhm.
It really and ADHD is like just like many things. It's not a monolith, right? Like so many. There's different presentations for different people.
Mhm.
And but I would say like the one of the toughest things for me with ADHD is like it's not that I don't think checking my email or checking the mailbox is important. I know they're important and I know there's stuff in there that I need to action on and
Mhm.
complete. But there is like a gap between I'm going to use the word desire, but that's not the right word. Like my
Mhm.
connection to doing that task is very low. Like it's a
Mhm.
mundane task. It happens every day
Mhm.
and for some reason,
Or maybe
the
like your motivation for
the
that task?
motivation, right? Like I
Yeah.
mean, that's what AHD is about, really. I think it's not about. Somebody said it's not. Was it attention? It's not a lack of attention. It's about where
Mhm.
the attention goes,
Right.
and the reward system, the dopaminergic system in the brain, doesn't fire for like some people love getting inbox zero, and it just that fires them up. It doesn't work for me. It doesn't like that. Doesn't
Not
nothing.
your bag.
Absolutely nothing. Like I'll do it. And I'm like, all right, I
Yeah.
did it. Like
Yeah.
cool. That's acceptable. Everybody here gets the inbox zero, or everybody here replies to every email within 2 hours. I've been in a company where that was a thing, and that was
That's
very
ambitious.
challenging.
2 hours. Wow.
I think most are like 24 or 48 hours, but like some
Yeah.
people are like, yo, we got a very aggressive email culture is one that's just hard for me.
Mhm.
I prefer either talking meetings or direct messaging
Mhm.
over email. That's one that has been hard for me throughout my career. I'm sure there are more, but I can't think of them right now.
Mhm. Yeah. So imagine if you worked in, like, let's say the 1970s where everything was phone call or fax machine. Like, would that be just the ideal working environment for you?
Maybe
Pick up the phone, let's fax a memo.
I don't. Maybe, but anything that becomes mundane becomes mundane. So,
That's
like,
true.
if I have to
Yeah.
do it all the time, I don't know. And
Yeah.
and
I
and
guess we'll
I've
never know because that's way in the past now, and we'll never be back at fax machines and phone
true.
calls.
I
Yeah.
mean, I think one thing that's different now, and I guess you could do it then. Like, I found ways to. I like games, so I like gamify, like checking my
Mhm.
email or using apps like I don't know Notion or Asana or Todoist or whatever to do to-do lists and being able to check things off and see things move or assign a score to things. Like to a degree, that's helped me. So like, there's something I know I got to do. I can like gamify it a little bit. That has helped, but
Yeah.
yeah, it'd be interesting. I don't know how I feel about that because, like, at some point, I think I'd just be like, I don't want to do calls anymore. Like, but who knows?
What does a typical workday feel like for you internally versus, like, what everyone sees on the outside?
Internally, it feels like I have a million things to accomplish, like right now, and like
Mhm.
everything is being demanded of me right now. Externally, I think I seem pretty calm.
Mhm.
And I've come to see that as a form of anxiety. I never thought I was anxious, but I think it's a form of anxiety. Some of the things that I think people request of me, like they are being requested and they are important. And other things are like, ooh, I have an idea to make that better. And so it's
Yeah.
like I have a whole list of like side things that are somewhat related, but
Mhm.
not related and nobody asked for. And yeah, so that can be overwhelming at times. Yeah. So I think the like duck feet underneath the water is like
Yeah.
how it feels for me. And then how it
Mhm.
looks is like, cruising along, chilling on the
Yeah.
water.
Do you think that is a normal state for you, or do you think that's part of a mask?
I think it's pretty normal.
Mhm. Have you disclosed to your team that you have ADHD?
I know I've said it.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure I've told them all. It was probably in a team call. I think I've mentioned it. I'm not like some of my past companies. I would not have mentioned it, but I'm pretty sure I have at this one.
Yeah. What was it about the environment that you felt safe enough to share that you had ADHD?
One of the current coworkers is autistic, and he mentioned it. And he actually, the first time he mentioned it kind of jokingly, and I was like, "Hey, is that like actually real or no?" And he's like, "No, it's real."
Yeah.
And then I can see it in how he interacts and things.
Mhm.
And then we had a conversation about like being uncomfortable about something, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I just talked to our boss about that, and he's cool." And here's how he responded. And I was like, "Oh." Like this team is open to fielding what I would call like off topics that
Mhm.
normally people push out and ignore. And so like if you bring it up, you're kind of ostracized or ignored or diminished. And so
Right.
like just little things happen that signaled to me that this team, everyone on
Mhm.
the team and including the leader was safe enough to bring up topics like that.
Yeah. So organizational culture is foundational for whether you're feeling comfortable and safe enough to disclose that you have.
100%. Yeah, because I
Yeah.
think that's one of the unwrittens, right? Is like
Mhm.
if not same equal bad. And so like,
Mhm.
I'm already different because I'm a black dude in tech rooms, which is normally white dudes. So like
Right.
I don't need any other notches on my belt. Like I just in most situations. So that's how that works.
What do you wish leaders understood about neurodivergence but often don't?
I'm gonna say this generally, even outside of neurodivergency, somebody not efforting on something doesn't make them late. Doesn't mean that they're lazy.
Mhm.
May come off as such, but I think as a leader, it's your job to figure out what's behind an action.
Mhm.
Some leaders choose not to, and that's their thing. But I think if you're going to ascribe a judgment as serious as laziness, you should investigate that. You should interrogate that because there might be more going on, whether it's neurodivergency or their pet died and they're
Mhm.
having an off day and they missed a
Yeah.
thing.
Mhm.
And I think along with that grace, it's like
Mhm.
we all want it when we mess up.
Mhm.
And I think one of the best ways to get it is to give it because we're all human. Like we all
Yeah.
have our things and
Mhm.
life happens to all of us very quickly.
Yeah.
And yeah, and the last thing I'll say is you talked about kind of leveraging the superpowers. I think those two leaders that realized where I was the highest performer on that team. I
Yeah.
was in the leadership track and the management track. And when you connect with people and put them in the right place to succeed, and obviously it's on them to like execute from there. But if you can help guide to those places, like you're going to get more out of
Mhm.
everybody.
Yeah. If you could redesign the workplace, what would you change first?
Get rid of email. We communicate.
Yeah.
You know what? Raven, Crow, I'll take pretty much anything over email.
Yeah.
That and no, if I was just all over from scratch, I'm writing this on a tablet.
Mhm.
Every meeting must have an agenda. Like so we know why we're here, we know what we're looking to get out of it,
Mhm.
and yeah, that'd be a big one. And I mean, if we're gonna go all the way into a redesign,
I could see your mind just like all the possibilities.
so much. There's so much. Like I'm every Simon Sinek book I've ever read is like going through my mind right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one of the big things there is, I think the difference for the best teams I've been on, the most successful teams,
Mhm.
I think a lot of people think this stuff we're talking about is soft. It's soft skill.
Mhm.
It's soft. It's not hard. And I don't think that's true. I think
Yeah.
back to that team where I was top performer and my manager realized that I work differently and that required some adjustment on his part.
Mhm.
But that team, not only was I a top performer, but that team was top performers and we all executed and we worked our asses off. It wasn't that
Yeah.
I didn't work 80 hours a week. I worked 80, 90 hours. Like I worked my ass off. And I would do that for that leader because they were a good leader and they
Yeah.
put us in positions and they helped us with the hard stuff. And we're willing to run through walls and figure out difficult things.
Mhm. And this was the same leader that helped you realize that you had AD.
He didn't help me realize it, but he realized it and he started doing things to put me in better positions.
Yeah, so he realized you had ADHD and recognized, okay, this is like high performance Rodney, this is low energy Rodney, and really chose to lean into the things that motivated you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and it's gonna sound corny, but people first, man. Like
Mhm.
the money will come, the deals will come, the projects and objectives, all that will come if you really take care of the people. And that sometimes means
Mhm.
this person, like this team's not the best fit, right? Like this isn't even what you want to be doing and you don't do it well. So like let me help you figure out where you should be and let's work on a
Yeah.
plan to get there.
Yeah.
People. We gotta take care of people.
What's the most neurodivergent thing you've done today?
This morning, my daughter asked me for she asked me for a story. She likes to listen to these, like there's this story podcast and she asked me for it. I was like, yep, I'm going to go get it. On the way, I ended up putting away laundry, folding some more laundry, checking and responding to like 4 or 5 emails. 15 minutes later, she's like, can I listen to a story? Oh, forgot.
That's hilarious. You're like, "Yes, I'm gonna go get your story. Oh, wait, there's this laundry that needs to be folded. I have to respond to this email."
There's a scene from Malcolm in the Middle. I'll see if I can find it. I'll send it to you so you have it.
Yeah.
Where the is like people are like, tell me you have ADHD without telling me you have ADHD, and it's the dad is like the light in the living room is not working, so he starts to take it apart, and it's like there's a screw loose. He's like, I gotta get my screwdriver. He starts to walk out. He turns the handle to the door, and it's loose. It's jiggling. He's like, gotta fix that, and then he's like, he continues out. And by the end of it, he's underneath the car fixing the engine and the light's still not replaced. And I was like,
That's hilarious.
yeah, that's real.
Yeah. This was such a good conversation, Rodney. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I feel like we're going to have to do a part 2 because I think there's just a lot more to talk about, but really appreciate your time and thank you for being on an episode.
Appreciate you having me. This was fun. I'm down for part 2, part 3, part 20. Let's do it. Let's
Yeah,
go.
let's do it. Done.